How you guys doing? Uh, Everything working all right? Ah, good. How you doing, Brian? Hi, drummer head. Oh, good. I I've had a few problems in the last several days with it, and I wanna. Hi, Steve. Kirk. Good to see you guys. Present for once, yeah. Yeah, it's funny too, Kirk. This is we're in daylight saving time, and Europe doesn't go into it until I think the last Sunday in March. Hi, Hater. Yeah, yeah. I got rid of the bandage, so I felt like those guys with the drum and the fife with that thing on. No, it just sort of banged up, and there's not it's not much more I can do other than just let it tie. It's going to turn all these terrible colors, so I'll be part of the Rainbow Coalition or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, everything's healed up. I got rid of that band. That wrap thing. They wrapped that around me. They did that. Looked like I was holding the top of my head up, but it was just to hold this one bandage on over my head where I smacked it. So anyway, okie doke. Jesse Jackson will be happy to have you. Yeah, I know. The raccoon look. We have all kinds of raccoons in our neighborhood, and they have. I even got a welcome sign from them. Okay, well, let's get started. There are a number of things I wanted to cover. I'm a little concerned that the guys in Europe may be off because of the. Oh, you're in Europe, aren't you? Hater. So I guess some people got the message. Uh, Abdul. Oh, good. Here, Abdul's also in. Good, good. Yeah, great. Yeah, it was. See, I don't know why the U.S. and God knows how they're going to change everything, or at least for the next 3 years and 9 months or whatever it is. But that's enough. Okay. Um, Thanks, Abdul. Uh, let's get started. What I want to start with is the E2. We don't have any update on this. They seem to be going along. I had a long conversation yesterday with Matu, and we talked about Air Zulu and all of the different things that are going on with that. And I want to talk about. But first of all, um, I they wanted spreadsheets for the delivery. I don't know why. I put up this other thing I thought was a lot more useful, but they wanted spreadsheets, so I made spreadsheets for them for the shipping. So that's done. So as soon as they're finished fixing up the E2s, they'll be on their way. I guess if I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have on E2, but I don't have any more answers than I had last week, to tell you the truth. When I talked to Matthew yesterday, we were so busy going over all of these details that he's been working with on Arizulu that So on that, but if you do have a question, please ask about the Etude. Etude number 2. Hi, Donald. How you doing? Yeah. I don't know. I'll be yeah, it's really funny. There's sort of this funny gap, and of course, that's the time that I chose to go to Europe. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be heading to Basel, and then we'll be going down the Rhine, and I'll be looking like some kind of refugee from a brawl. So I can hardly wait. Okay. All right. So let's go on to Heure, Zoulou. The first thing, and I put this up on the Heure, Zoulou page, is that um, Agenor is starting to get the parts that they ordered, and one of the first parts they got are the snail cam for uh, the snail cam for the Zoulou arm. Okay. Oh, what boat? Just a Viking boat, uh, Kirk. Basel is 30 minutes from my home. Let me know when I arrive. I'd be glad to. In fact, I was hoping that we're going to be going from Basel down to Amsterdam, and I was thinking about that. We did Avalon on the Rhine. Okay, yeah, Avalon's a good. You know, it's sort of something I don't have to think for a whole week. But of course, that probably won't happen. We'll probably get jumped by pirates. Yeah, I think so too, Kirk. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, okay. Anything else about um, E2? Yeah, Abdul, they're I'd like to meet you there. They're picking us up at the plane. They're taking us to the boat. We're getting there about, God, I think around 2 in the afternoon or something like that. Because we got to fly from New York to Paris, and then from Paris to Basel. And I think it's around 2 o'clock that we get there, Basel time. And I'm like, you know what? My biggest issue has been what watch to take. And since there's the time the time gaps are really messed up right now. I'm just going to take. I guess I'm going to just take a single watch. Something. Maybe I'll take my Etude number 1. The only thing I have hesitation about on Etude number 1 is it's got a gator strap, and I can just see somebody taking my holding up at customs. Last time I came through customs when I went to Geneva, boy, we sailed right through customs on the way home, and they didn't even check the bag. I even asked them, hey, yeah, time here, time there. That was what I had last time, and I took that one. What I found was that it worked fine as long as I had my glasses on. This is really funny. Most of the time, I don't wear my glasses. I just wear it with my computer and when I read. Otherwise, I, I can't hear, but I can see really well. Even through black eyes, I can see. Yeah, I think you're right, Abdul. I'll find out. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I had on my time here and time elsewhere when I came home, and it's on a gator strap. So it's also I think made in Switzerland, but they didn't nothing on that. Okay, doke. I'd take 2 watches, one with good good loom for the night. Uh, okay. Uh, Abdul, I plan to stay in well-lighted areas. How you doing, Paul? I haven't been stopped at customs anywhere in 40 years. Kirk, you look honest. I don't. I'll be going through with a black eye. They're gonna, what happened to you? What have you been up to? I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking of taking my Parmigiani hemisphere. That's sort of my go-to one, and I like it because it has 2 time zones. I'd really have to, I mean, 2 night-day indicators. I might take it. I don't know yet. We'll see. But I was thinking I'd just taking my time only, just one time only watch and nothing but that. But we'll see. I'll have to make. It's one of those things that got to put everything together. Okay. Yeah, decisions. Um, yeah. Um, well, Abdu, you look like an honest guy. I look like someone who should be stopped. Hey, hater. Been to Basel 2 months ago. If I knew it was that close, I'd have visited. Gee whiz, yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, I was thinking of Hater at the end because I'm going to be in Amsterdam, but it's sort of like as soon as we get to Amsterdam, they're going to take me off the ship or the boat, take us to the airport and back to JFK. So, all right, let's get focused. I didn't mean to interrupt everybody with a vacation. Look in 5 weeks. Look for Kirk. Hi, Graham. Okay. Again, let's get started on that. All right. So that's it for what I'll do. I'll try to do it tomorrow. Is to contact Sebastian at Maid and see if there's any kind of time element we can get. Okay, now Air Zulu, we had a whole lot happen, so let me talk about it. Yesterday, I had a video meeting with Matu. We were supposed to have it the day before when I didn't have a black eye, but Matu was jammed up, and so we had it yesterday. Okay, first of all, let me get the name of this. We talked about the different companies to work with, and there were 2 Cadra dial companies, both of which were within a mile of Agenor, and we'd been waiting for the other one, and they didn't get back. They didn't get back, and then when they would get back, then it'd take them another several weeks to finally come up with all of the things he needed. And so, in talking with Matthew, he says the GVA for Geneva, what's it called? GVA Cadrons SA. That's the one I think we're going to go with. The dials are the unit price is 537 Swiss francs, which is about half of what we would pay otherwise. I mean, what we paid last time. It is more than what Metallim would charge, but we had such good luck with Metallim on our first watch that I said, oh, I really like them, but Matthew said he just didn't think for the complexity of the watch we had, it was a good idea. I've got a little picture up there of, well, you can't see it. I brought it up on that little poster thing that I have on the announcements on the where I have the agenda. There's a what I would do if I were you is visit GGA Cadrons. Let me see. Let me put up there. Here is their URL that you can take a look at their stuff. What I found was a much better series of examples on their Instagram page. Here's the Instagram right here. I would take a look at the Instagram for getting, I think they have the best examples. They have some on there that were fairly well known. I think the one I put up there, I think is from a Hermes watch that they entered into the jewelry category. So that looked pretty good. There was another one. I don't know if any of you have seen it or not. I think it's by Ulysse Nardine, and they've got this X-rated set of dials about this girl that falls off her boat, and then she and this mermaid are, getting together. And it's sort of like it's a very erotic dial. And I was surprised to see that these guys did it. Now, here's the important part about that is that it's a very complex drawing. In other words, it's like a painting. And I think it's those kinds of things that that Matthew saw compared to ours, because we do have a lot of, I think, details on our dial that I'd rather have done right than anything else. Hey Pedro, how you doing? So I thought, well, yeah, it would make sense. It's 1.7 kilometers, about a mile from where Agenor is. And so he can just walk over there, hop on his motorcycle, and be up there in a minute. So that's sort of nice, because if there's any back and forth required, like there has been with Combe de Mine, a whole lot, I'm hoping that there won't be too much. Once they have it, and then they'll get a prototype and everything else. Okay, yeah. Is that Donald? I wasn't sure. It's Ulysse Nardine. Is that correct? I should have guessed. A guy from California would know those. Oh, okay. So that I rather than waiting, so we go beyond a certain point where we're not going to be in time for anything, I thought it might as well, let's get started on it and move on it. Hi, Mr. Raziv. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. The Murano one. Right. Exactly. And so this is something that we have, I think, I feel a lot better about having a dial maker who could do this kind of thing. Not the erotic part, but but rather that kind of detail. So take a look at it though, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, I'm from California too. That's how come I knew, Donald. I knew exactly. Okay. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I did put up a on the announcement, on the, meeting announcement, that little thing I put up with the agenda, there's a picture of the one I think was entered by Hermes in, one of the Grand Prix for it was either artistic I think it was for artistic crafts. It was a bird. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. Yeah, I know, yeah, they've got all kinds of interesting stuff there. Hey, there you go. Have never mind. Okay. Um, all right, so that's one thing. Now this next one is is a little different for us. In fact, very different for us. It's a company called Patrick Fabrique de Aiguilles. This is a company that is in Morteau, France. Now, Morteau, France, I put a little map up there. Again, if you on the announcement, you can see it. It's about 163 kilometers from Geneva. It's a couple-hour drive, I guess. So it's not that far away. You know, it's a funny thing. Speaking of Californians, California is a big, long state, and Connecticut's a little bitty state. I used to driving 2 hours in California was nothing. I would drive our 200 miles. It was like between San Diego and LA, it was about 100 miles and change, I think. But in Connecticut, that's a huge thing. You drive for any more than an hour, you're either in another state or the Atlantic Ocean. So that's, but I figure, well, you know, that there's a lot of room there. And beside, a lot of the guys at Agenor live in France. Nicholas lives in France. And it's really funny. If you're certain places around Agenor where if you turn left, you're still in Switzerland. If you turn right, you're in France. So anyway, hi, Charles. How you doing? Um, yeah. Yeah, I used to drive all the time, man. It was nothing. I used to have a 55 Volkswagen when I was in high school. I'd hop and drive from Santa Barbara down to San Bernardino to see my cousin and see how much trouble we could get into. Yeah, that was my understanding too, Abdul. Anyhow, okay. So, well, the I guess what will happen if the hands are made in France, they'll be sent to Agenor, and there'll be the 8.1 VAT added to it. That's a good thing for us because we're set up with Switzerland's VAT. Uh, Within France, because it's outside of France or Germany or wherever, you get the entering country's VAT, and as long as it's entering Switzerland, we're good on that one. So we have that one covered. Yeah, the Patrick website took me a while to get into that. That was it did. I put let me see. Hang on a second. I got try this link, Kirk. Yeah, it took me a while to get into it too. See if that one works. Sometimes a longer one does, or if you leave out the HTTP www, that's you don't see if that one works for you. It's their website is not the most informative that I've seen. In terms, it just it talks. It's informative in terms of a lot of details about what they do and so forth. but it turns out that their Instagram page has the most information in terms of examples of what they do. And that was fine. One of the other things they do is that they have these elaborate paintings on eggs. I'm not sure what that's about, but if they can elaborately paint on an egg, I guess they could elaborately do our dial justice. Okay. Okay, so the dial. Wait a minute, what is that for? Oh, the hands, the whole set of hands would be 118. The other one was really a lot more expensive. There was one called something Ho, and let me see. Let me bring this up real quick. They were 415 Swiss francs compared to 118. And one of the things I found when looking at the La Patrique was that they had all these specialized hands, and we need that because we need the Asagi hands. No, there's not going to be a problem with GPHG. You only need like 60% of your watch to be considered made in Switzerland. So I don't think they're going to make a squawk about the hands. The other thing, I asked Matthew about Fiedler, and we've been dealing with Fiedler for the first two. And they've been good. There was something about the bookkeeping seemed to be, not that they were screwing anybody, but they were just sort of like, it wasn't clear a lot of times. And but they did a good job. I appreciated Fiedler. They're one of the best. They're tops. There was an article in the Europa magazine, which is sort of one of the watch magazines, and they had an article on Morteau in France, and they were talking about sort of as a place where a lot of your tip-top watches were getting certain parts from. And they also talked about an elite watchmaking school there, which I thought was another interesting aspect of it. So, and I don't think Matthew would have really, brought it up had it not been something that was he saw as important. There's also an organization that the Swiss watch parts makers belong to, and they also belong to it. So I thought that would be pretty good with that. Brian, did that answer your question okay? Okie doke. The third one was on the straps, and we got the sample from Jean Rousseau, and I thought they looked great. And the other strap companies, one did, Protexo was not in that list, by the way. The other two, one was, neither one of them was, was a whole lot of difference. One was 130. The one for Jean Rousseau was 112.75. That's the unit price for the straps. For the multi-cheer, something like that, that was 135.22. And then there was one called SIS that was $70.42. Now, that was by far the cheapest, but, Matu, did not there was something about those guys that he just didn't wasn't crazy about. Me, on the other hand, I'm a big, fan of Jean, Rousseau, and so, the good thing about it, if I don't think there's gonna be any problem on the strap on this one because it's cowhide and textile, but if there is some screwy thing coming into the US, with the straps, there's a Jean Rousseau presence here in the US, in New York, and some of us have been to their shop off of, Fifth Avenue. I think it's up on 54th Street several times, and they're really cool. So I had called them, by the way, and asked them about what was it? Uh, oh, I know. Before they were sent off, to them on I guess the one in Paris, I had called them, in New York and asked them about the specialization and so forth about, straps, and they said, yeah, they could do that. Okay. Oh, drummer. Okay, drummer dad. Good. I'm glad you too, Pedro. How do we know that, Jean Rousseau does a great job? Because I've got several straps that are all done great, including there was this really complex one I had done for my son on his, the one down one bummer side of, the, Bulgari Octo Romas is that they have this special strap, and so I went to, Jean Rousseau in New York, and they did a great job on it because it was I don't think anybody else other than, Bulgari. I'd gone to the Bulgari store in New York and asked them about it, and they so I thought, "Okay, I'll just take it to Jean Rousseau, and they'll know what to do," and they did. Yeah, Donald. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Sort of preaching to the choir again, Donald. Sorry about that. All right, any questions on that? Okay, one other thing, some of the guys, we had that poll. It was more, it was a poll, but it wasn't like a poll for having the most favorite. It's simply a poll for different, wrist sizes. Now, when, um, Matthew got the estimate on the straps, he didn't mention anything different sizes. And, from the poll, it's very clear that we need small, medium, and large. Um, so I asked him to check about that and see it would cost us extra, but that's all right, I think, because the straps are so unique. I think they really go with the watch. And so not to have those particular straps, I think might be a mistake. So, okay, where are we now? Any questions on that? Matthew's looking into the cost of that right now for us, what the extra would be, because right now, 114, I think there'd probably simply be a setup for the other 2. Okey doke. We voted on the 3D rendering, for Heure Zoulou, and it was like 85 to 15, so it was a very clear, mandate to go ahead and get it. Let me say something else about that. We all get a copy of it. I mean, we can use the, 3D rendering for anything we want to, including our banners and posters and so forth. By the way, speaking of which, we got a lot, more than I thought, reaction to a video that I put out, on sort of the history of Lyrique. And I was I was surprised, quite frankly. I thought, sometimes you think everybody knows about something, and it turns out they don't. Um, I don't know. I've got uh, we haven't had exactly a hard time filling slots, and so we haven't really done anything about any kind of outreach program. And it's sort of how do you do just to get just the right people, just 100 of them? It's sort of tricky. We haven't figured that out yet. Um, yeah, Michael, that would be great. We could let them know and say, some of our guys want to have extra straps, different sizes. Oh, Hater. Yeah. By the way, too, Hater, I am so glad we've got our website. That makes life a lot easier. By the way, too, I have a whole list of things that I got, and I've been organizing them to so I can send them to Abdul for Air Sultan. But I also have some people who want to be on a waiting list for any slots that open up on Air Zoulou. We may have two. There are two guys that I have not been able to get a hold of. Neither has Rob. Rob hasn't heard from him either. So we may have two slots open up, and we'll just have them. If they fill the slots, we'll just return the funds that were sent already. Yeah, I think, yeah, we're doing pretty good on that. And I think if we have, I don't know, some more of videos, um, every now and then about some different aspect of it, it might help. Yeah, website just what we need. You know what, Hater, you might do is simply have one for me and one for Abdul, and then both of us, we, one for Zulu and one for Air Setant, and they can hit either one of them if they want one or the other one. That's something else too. There's some guys, I guess, who they want to sell their Etude number 1 or number 2, but we don't have anything really set up for that. And I don't know, maybe if you guys want to do that or not, like have a sort of a place on the website where just sort of available, these are available, and then have them sort of send them off to the person who's interested in selling it and let them deal with it. Hater, not, I don't want to give you more work, Hater, but it would just be sort of something where people could make some kind of contact. Oh, okay. Thanks, Hater. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, I mentioned the AGH 6850 parts have begun to arrive at Agenor. Um, Shortly, we're going to have the Horological Society of New York auction, and I think we'll get a good sense of what people would like to have that for. And I've seen some of the other things that they have at the same auction, including I think there's a couple other watches, and then there was this big FP Journe wall clock with it basically it's the it's basically Chronometsu vein, the platinum one, and I simply the wall clock with it, and they have that in the auction. So I think also there's like a dinner with Beaver, I think is his name, Jean Claude Biver, Biver. Anyway, so it's sort of like a really class outfit, and it's going to be held at the Plaza in New York, which is a place I can't afford to even go by. All right. From the looks of it, I think that's about it. Unless there's Abdul, you want to say any more about the uh, Dot? So you got about 15 more slots. Okay. I'm gonna try I'll try today to get caught up on all the emails that I got, and some may be new ones, but I have a feeling a lot of them will be the same ones you already had, Abdul, but I send them anyway. Um, Oris and Brooklands. I don't know about. I think Oris had last year, and Brooklands is a new one on me. I don't even know what Brooklands is. That is it a? Do you know anything about that, Brian? Yeah, a good idea, Abdul. I agree. That is a good idea. Get down that. Okay, guys. It's a racing chronograph. Okay, good. Very different from ours. But one thing I think we can ours is an air racing, theirs is a chronograph, racing chronograph. Ours is a DTZ, theirs is a chronograph, I guess. Okay, good. I just don't want it too much overlap. And but it's good to see sort of sports watch and sports watch. Sort of to get that idea. Allie has been making a whole lot of posters, and the thing is that we're sort of where we need those posters is around different websites that are not not Air Zulu, because that I think is how we sort of get it around. And if we keep putting those out there, there's sort of like a point of interest on it, hoping that will, drive up some interest. Oh, by the way, too, and Matthew said that we could get the 3D renderings next month. So that'll be good. And once we get those, I think this is another thing we sort of to grind out. Anyway, we'll talk about more of that next time. So, and if there's anything that you want that you think would be a good idea to discuss on next Sunday, let me know, and I'll put it up, and I'll see you then, if not before. Take care.